Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, we are going to be starting a track, and hopefully we are going to be starting a bunch of tracks, because this video is about starting tracks. This happens to everyone, and it is not a lack of motivation, it's a lack of inspiration. Like, you're motivated, you want to hop in there, you want to do something, but then, like, where do I start? Like there's no kind of, what do I want to make? So I'm going to be going through a couple, I guess, things that I do that get tracks started. So I get deep inspiration from certain plugins and certain synths. And essentially, if I want to get a track started, I will think, like, what plugin or what synth or what even sample pack do I want to start with that will get that inspiration going? So I'm going to just open up. Yeah, I guess I'll just do Diva at random. You don't see me using Diva that often, but here it is. And, I'll just set an arbitrary BPM of 125. And I will essentially just hit a note. I will move that up a couple octaves and hit another note. That's pretty 80s. Doesn't really inspire me at this present point. So one of the major kind of ways to get inspiration is getting a preset going. Plenty of there's plenty of presets. There's more presets than there are people in the world, and a lot of the plugins come with a bunch of them. So I'm just gonna pick, Dream Synth, whatever. That's a fifth. That sounds kind of interesting. I don't want to use a pluck. That's kind of cheating. Let's find this. Okay, let's take a look at that, and let's tweak that a bit. And, that's an interesting bass sound, but I don't actually want to use that. I'm going to play around with the decay and the attack, maybe. And I'm just going to get some things going on. Maybe take off the effects. And the cool thing about Diva is you can actually change the oscillator section completely. And we can take that, maybe we can detune that slightly. Or maybe, have the mix like that. We'll find a good note. I'm going to turn this up just a tiny bit. All right, so there's that. Let's just have that as a basic example. And why not? Let's just loop this section, insert a MIDI clip. And I found a note that I like, and there was a preset that I kind of got inspiration from. And, once you have that sound, what do you do with it? Well, quick and easy way is to do the thing without even explaining what I was doing. So you have your note. I like that. I want to right click, I want to go to sixteenths. Sixteenths and eighths is what a lot of music is based off of. So we'll do that. So I right click, I set the grid to 16th, and I'll kind of do that and then do that. Right? And there's that. I can also go to eighths, but whatever. So I'm just gonna Control D and just duplicate those things. Right, so I have a note and there's something going on, which is cool. So from here, I can go for, usually what I do is I go for timing, which can be like a shuffle or the length of the notes. Now this is something that, I didn't do back in the day, but now I do it all the time because it just gives it this really cool feel. It gives space, right? So you can get some really nice kind of movements just with something that's, perceivably, boring looking, but you can make it sound actually pretty cool. Right, so you have that, and you know what, that sounds a little odd. Let's go back and maybe give it a bit of a release, maybe. Oh wait, and if you do that, the release does the thing. Anyway, let's go to a digital one. This gives us a little bit more control. All right, there's that, which is pretty dope. And let's give this an analog. Yeah, we'll go analog. Give it a little bit of feedback, just basic tweaking, just having fun. So yeah, there's that. So from here, we can give it. There's the note. It's kind of, in a line. It's the lengths are varied, which gives it a lot of movement. And let's bring this down. No, let's not actually bring that down. Maybe. All right, so from here, what we can do is we can worry about like which note it is. Right? Right. So how I go about doing it is I'm not one of those people I don't know what it's going to sound like like when I move it. I move a note and then I hit play. Right? So you'll see me like starting and stopping and moving the notes up and around. I just wrestle with it until it sounds good. Maybe I'll move that down. Maybe move that there. I moved that down and it didn't sound good to me. Right? And that end note, I kind of like to do a thing at the end of the results, but it just doesn't sound right to me. Might be something that would do a thing, but not into it. So from here, I have a basic kind of idea. And this could be my kind of a bass line. It doesn't sound exactly how I want it to sound. It doesn't sound perfect, but it's kind of has a neat groove to it. And I can be like, okay, so I want to recreate that in something that is, I'm a little bit more, I guess, proficient in than a lot of other people are, and it would translate well, and I can change the waveforms and all that fun stuff. Diva is really good for a particular feel. Well, several feels, several feels actually. Diva is, does a lot of cool stuff, but then Serum is like this Swiss Army knife that is just, my muscle memory is attached to it. It's kind of a curse. Right, so I have that just to envelope 2. And what I can do is I can get finer control with the release here. And I can adjust the phase. Right, and you'll notice that I had the, I guess I'll have the portamento on. It's because I want those to kind of glide into each other. So it does a thing here. So what I can do for that particular note is get the automation going. So this is all part of the process here. So I'm going to open up the filter. Oops. I'm going to open up the filter on that note. So when it glides, it opens up, and it might sound cool. Who knows? Sounds weird. I'm actually going to make that longer. Right, and I'll set that like that. And let's do more portamento-y shifts here. Right, I can put on a metronome so I can kind of get the groove going on. Right, and then from here, you can just do a bunch of stuff. So I have a basic idea. Could be a drop, this could be a funky little bass line thing that occurs, who knows. Right, so imagine that sidechain, imagine that with like a bunch of kicks and stuff. Just imagine it in the context of what's going on. Okay, so that was, a basic idea there. So another idea generator is a particular sample pack. And there's nothing wrong with this. They're not going to send you to producer jail for, using a sample. And we're going to be generating an idea with just a random loop, right? Because loops are idea generators as well. Right, so there's one that kind of sparks my interest a bit, and it's pretty retro sounding. It's a really cool sample pack, and maybe another one. Right, that might be cheating, but who cares? So we have this loop here. Right, and it's from its original BPM, it's a little bit slower, so I'll boost it up a bit. It's still not quite fast enough, it's at 140, but we can either repitch it, or we can complex it to preserve the original pitch, but make it sound like it doesn't sound bad. And from here, well, there's two things we can do, so I'll actually demonstrate that. We can effectively split it up into its constituents. Right, and this is just classic techno 101. Right? Oops, if I can freaking... Oh, because I have automation on. I get confused sometimes. That's okay. So, yeah, classic techno. I don't want that clap in there. You just move stuff around. Right, classic techno, you got that little tail, that clap there, but that tail, that clap is there for a groove situation. And it's a really nice effect. And you can just chop it up to your heart's desire. So from here, you have access to all these different sections. So you can pitch that down or pitch it up. Actually, that should be the same. I'm actually going to select these two. And you can do all sorts of stuff. And that's just kind of a basic, I guess, starter of a loop kind of situation. And you can have that in there and sidechain it, process it in varying ways, put a Redux on there, and hooray, there's some techno stuff of the retro variety. But if we want to do something else with that, that's equally inspiring, or to achieve inspiration, you get a loop that kind of you're like, what can I do with this? What you can do in Ableton is you can go to this envelope. I guess transposition, which is a similar thing that I did, but this is kind of like, I don't know, the hipster way to go about it. We have 16ths, and we can do all sorts of stuff with that. And that's for complex. If we want to go to texture, which is a really cool effect, we can adjust the grain size as well. Right, we'll go to transposition and just set that back to normal. And we'll go to grain size. And yeah, we can draw in some funky grain size. As an example, I'm not too great at that, but whatever. So let's get another loop in there. All right, so there's this here. All right, so let's get that, and let's get something else. So you can be inspired by groove as well. This is something that I did a lot back in the day. I mean, like swing, right? So if you find a loop that you enjoy, right, there's that, and you'll notice that things are kind of shifted over there. We can actually use that as a reference, and this is something that I did a lot back in the day, and you can do some interesting warpage there. So I'm just gonna double click to where Ableton and I agree that there's a transient. So this detects the transient, and I'll go complex. Right, so I have this here, and I have this green one up here. Right, it has a bit of swing and groove to it. What I can do, just to be wacky, as I can actually grab this one, right, and just move that over, right? And not the greatest example, but you can do this, and you can do this with basically anything, and kind of jack the swing, right? And we can do this. And yeah, just to, compare, right? We can double click that. Right, that's pretty sync, like right on time. And this is now like this. Kind of sounds like a broken beat of sorts, and the sky is the limit with that sort of thing. Right, you can use this maybe as a reference. Who knows? Might be pretty similar, and no, it's not. So we can be like, yeah, that's good. And this is something that I did before I understood groove pools. Right, and you can even, grab this, move that over, and then we can see what that sounds like if we pull that guy over. Right, now let's move that over. Just as an example. And then you combine these things and things like that. So that. So another kind of inspiration is a loop like this, I imagine. All right, so loops typically aren't the exact same all the way through. This might be the exception. No, it totally is. Okay. So, you can get something like this. And for me, I could get inspired by a new plugin effect that I can use on something like this and be like, I wonder how this audio would react to this effect. So let's give it a try. And I'm going to connect some RX7. So RX7 is a audio restoration suite. And I just put on Decrackle just to see what it would do. Oh man, I just blew up my computer actually. Let's not do that. Okay, so I did the output crackle thing. I'm not going to do a tutorial on this, but I did the output crackle only. All right, so that did a thing. Let's see what else I could add. Maybe dehum. And I'll do adaptive. I'm not going to do adaptive. Let's see. All right, so that is for hum and things like that. But yeah, no, I'm figuring out and doing things that you don't usually do on things that you shouldn't really be doing things to. Let's see what deverb does. All right, so we're affecting the high ends. All right, so we're effectively subtracting that. All right, so let's see what that sounds like. All right, so that sounds interesting. I'm going to freeze that and then flatten. And this is the audio that we have now. Actually, it did a bad thing. Actually need to render a little bit more of that. It's fine. That's why they have undo. And I'll flatten that. All right. A little bit of a click there, but it's all, I have a thing that sounds a little bit different. What would happen if we, deplosive. What's this gonna do? Doesn't really do what I want, but whatever. Maybe I can spectral denoise it. Yeah, that just takes out the hiss of that. So maybe I shouldn't be maybe if I put deverb, like just do stuff. Oh, you know what? All right. So just had a little bit of a tick of inspiration. What I'm gonna do is I have a Waves plugin, and I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Air or something. Air, low air, exactly. Let's do that. And I don't know what's going. Oh, Ableton 10.1 just installed. Yay. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's see what this can do. Give it a rumble. Trim it. Yeah, we're adding a lot of low end to something that already has a lot of low end. But we'll leave it on there anyway, just because this is just what that channel would do. We've lost all of our definitions, so maybe more direct. I like that. So, what can we do with this? Well, it's still a loop. Yeah, maybe we'll just do that, because maybe that clap won't be that appropriate. Yeah, no, why maybe do that. All right, so maybe I can do this. All right, so we have a little bit of a friend there. Give him a little bit more low end. And then we can get into some sample manipulation. Right, it sounds like that, but I can smooth it out like that maybe. Nice. All right, so we're getting, I guess, ideas now. Right. So from here, let's shape it a bit. I mean, give it a bit of color, I should say. Nope. Notice that click there. That click of that kick is coming through. I won't have any processing on the low end. And get some feedback. And oh, okay, it doesn't like that. I like that. All right, so we're getting there with some processing. Let me just drop in my other Swiss Army knife LFO tool which I'm going to be using for, I guess, some filter cutoff automation. And then I will get 24 dB per octave. Okay. And, we're clipping, but that's okay. No one's perfect. And, we'll just, you can go on like this. I don't want to go on too crazy, but I know people will be like, where is this headed? I want to know where this is headed. It's headed to being frozen. And this all started from a loop if you're following along at home. All right, we just have this beefy kick of doom here that we can in turn, shape and do some fun stuff too. Or, I guess, lack of a better way to describe it. A little bit of harmonic content up there. And stuff like that. Right, and that's just, a way to get an idea going, and then it just becomes automatic and fun. And who knows what else. So from here, using, well, you can use some interesting, let's see. Maybe, we can just drop in the drop there. And maybe something inspiring that's kind of old school sounding. And we'll just take it off that just for reasons. All right, so we have that. I'm just going to drop in the basic kind of pattern here, 16ths. Apparently, there you go, C1. Really like C1. All right, so I'll just kind of do that and that there. All right, so we got that, and that's all well and good. All right, there's that. Okay, and that's just a basic idea. I want to get the drop going on, and this is really cool because it has filters and stuff, but it also has drive and it has safe mode. Always be safe. Oh, I actually have to turn it on, sorry. Right, I'm just playing around with the filter. I can change the algorithm. Doing that. What else can we do? Maybe shift? Oh, no, that's not it. Spread. No, let's go LFO 1. And I can maybe synchronize that to quarter. And right now it's multi, don't want that. Okay, so we got some spread going on there. I don't know what that was going to do. And I'll have another LFO here. It's maybe set to half. And LFO 2 will this. I won't do that. Maybe I'll do something to the resonance. Alright, so there's that. I'll do a little trick here. I'm actually going to duplicate that and then take the drop off one of them and then freeze and flatten this one. And this will give me kind of a way to mix them together and do some stuff. So what would be like the first thing that I would do to a piece of audio like this? Well, I do that and do that. Let's just compress the hell out of it. See what that sounds like. And then we'll go pumping. Pump it. Right, so compressors can do some really crazy stuff. Oh, Hardney. When you compress them a lot. Oh, sorry. Did I just say compressors do a lot of stuff when they... No. When you have extremely fast attack and release and a algorithm beneath it trying... Well, when you have a really fast release and you get distortion, but the style will try to compensate for that. I don't know what this is doing. I just picked it because it sounded neat. And with the filter and with the blah, 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 this actually sounds pretty cool. So I'm going to keep that. And it's all about just freeforming. Doing things you're not supposed to do. Because, buying this thing that, organ players used and boosting the resonance and playing with the cutoff is something that you weren't supposed to do, but it inspired an entire genre for like multiple decades. It's called the TB303, and that's what, read the story. It wasn't meant to be used like that, and it, a design flaw in the Moog Model D, I believe, led to the smudginess and the feedback, which, the story goes on from there. Like, freaking do things you're not supposed to do. Like, listen to what I say and then completely disregard what I said. All right, that sounds cool. What will we do from here? Well, I just had this idea. I'm going to, just because of the inspirational stuff that I've been using, I'm going to add Pro R. And, get it close. Do that. And then I'm going to use something from iZotope. I just had this weird idea. I don't know. I'm going to add reverb, and then I'm going to take away reverb just to see what will happen. Maybe less from the highs. Right, there's that. Let's take that and let's freeze it. And I made a video about this, and that freezing is great to just commit to what you're doing and move on and not necessarily, worry about, going back and changing it. Just continue on, and you never know, you might get something. And how do you know which thing to add in? You just kind of discover that over time, and, you know, you get these little utilities and you're like, well, what does that do? So I want to compress it again, but I'm going to do it in a multi-band way, like a bunch of them. Right, so it sounds sonically weird, right? But in a cool way. I'm going to take it maybe a step further. I'm going to see if I have... No, I don't have it. Maybe I do. Nope. I do not. But it's good to pretend. Oh, I don't have... It's beta. Crap. Okay, so yeah, let's continue on. And one of the really cool compressors is the C1 stereo, and this is like a classic compressor. You load it up, and it doesn't do anything, and you're like, I want my money back. But it's kind of those ones that you need to set up. This one can give you some really interesting distortion. 0.01 milliseconds. Really fast release. And that's what that sounds like. Might not be exactly what I'm looking for, but it's worth a try. It's a very, non-trans. It's a compressor that's very easy to you take a little too far. From here, what I would do, let's say I want to do some things to the overall feel and the amplitude. What would that be? No, not guitar rig. Maybe. Oh man. I will decide on maybe Devastator. And pick an asymmetrical transfer function. Right, got some movement there, and from here we can. I want to give it a little bit more movement, but I can do that with a delay. I'm just gonna. Oh, they changed the delay. This is my first time using the delay. Okay, so this is the new Ableton delay, adjustable ping pong and all that fun stuff. Very cool. Oh, they're linked by default. All right, let's see what that sounds like with our original. Yeah, sounds okay, I guess. Cool thing to do after a delay is to add a compressor and bring the volume down. And then EQ. Right, so what we can do, yeah, we just bring down the high end here. And, oh man, like I always jump back to Saturn, and what this will do is this will bring those harmonics back, but in a different way. with that top part there. Oh. Right, so from here, what I'm hearing is the need for a bit of volume automation, and you can do that with the utility. So what you do is you kind of keep where you want it to kind of be loud, and you just kind of do that. But you know, you don't want to do it too much. When you add those harmonics back, you gotta get the EQ as well. And things like that. You can just go crazy. And, you know, I thought, you know, I guess this would be a good note to end on. It's just getting something down, anything. It could be like a percussion hit. There's that. Okay, so yeah, let's get that into a sampler or simpler. And maybe like filter it out. Right, and then you're like, okay, what can I do with that? Like, don't expect to get the sound you want just from doing one thing. Really cool thing to do is just add a limiter. Right? And from there, some reverb, give it some space. Just kind of interesting. And, you know, you can get scared like that. Take away harmonics, add harmonics. You can adjust the start time. Another cool thing you can do is you can be like, that's okay, I want to try something else. Maybe like a percussive hit. That sounds neat. Right, feel free to copy me. And, oh, maybe like a Tom from MySpace. Stop it. Or like, yeah, you could do stuff with effects and things like that. But, you know, whatever. Right, that was just a bass line. Things like that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. A little bit rambling, but whatever. And yeah, that was how to get ideas started 101. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care and have a good one.